It's Friday, July the 25th, 2014. I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield, and this is episode number 44 of T.E.N, Transport Evolved News for the week beginning July the 21st, 2014. Ever since Tesla announced its plans to build a massive battery reprocessing and manufacturing facility called the Gigafactory somewhere in one of 4 US southwestern states, there's been a great deal of speculation and hearsay about when and where the massive factory will be built. Officially, Tesla hasn't detailed where its site will be yet, but Reno local Bob Tregillis thinks he's got enough evidence gathered to put Tesla's first Gigafactory site on his back door. And if you pile up the evidence he's been collecting for a few weeks, it's pretty hard to disagree with him. Local construction workers who won't talk about what they're building, firemen who pretend not to know what's going on but clearly do, and a friend of a friend who refused to talk to him when they realised he was writing an article on the Gigafactory. Okay, it's not 100% concrete, but we think it's pretty convincing. And Bob will be on today's news panel show, so if you have any further questions, be sure to tune in. I'm sorry to interrupt this. I know it's recorded with a poor camera, but this is a breaking news story and I think it's very important that we add this into the edit at the last minute. We recorded this show this morning at 5 AM British time. It's now nearly 9 AM and it appears that this story has developed a little further. Overnight, we received a couple of comments on our original story from someone who claimed to have connections to people who were working at this site. We've since done some digging and it does appear at this current stage, we haven't been able to clarify this source 100%. We are working very hard to clarify the source, but there is a very strong suggestion that the original contractors who were working on the site have been fired and they've been told to go home. The reason given, or the reason apparent, seems to be that this particular contracting team was behind schedule for the needs of the very demanding client. Now, we did send our correspondent Bob Tregillis back out to the factory, the supposed factory site, early in the wee small hours his time, and he reports that unlike a couple of days ago when the site was up and operational, there were floodlights, lots of people working through the night. This morning when he went, there was no lights on, nobody there save for one person in a security truck who turned on vehicle lights when they saw him approaching. Now, we haven't been able to corroborate this story yet. We haven't been able to clarify the sources of these stories. We are working very hard to do that. Some of the suggestions are that this site has been postponed and delayed indefinitely. With my editorial hat on, I suspect that what's happened is one contracting team has been laid off and another is due to be instated in its place. Talking with various people, it does become apparent that the locals are fairly convinced that this is a Tesla site. So we'll bring you more news as we have it. Sorry that this is added an extra bit of length to the story today. Now back to the show. South Korean battery specialist LG Chem, which currently supplies electric car battery packs to General Motors, Reno and Hyundai amongst others, will be making and selling 200-mile electric car battery packs by 2016. That's according to the firm's chief financial officer, Cho Suk-ye, who told Reuters last Friday that LG Chem's second-generation lithium-ion battery pack would offer a massive improvement in energy density compared to its first-generation pack. The result is a battery pack which can store far more energy per unit mass, translating to a battery capable of travelling much further per charge than current packs. While Suk-ye wouldn't name which of LG customers would be buying the new battery pack, we're guessing at the moment GM, who has been promising a 200-mile EV by 2016 for some time, is at the top of the list. So if you're considering buying a new EV anytime soon, you may want to hold off until we know a little more about this supposed 2016 model year long-distance car. The US state of New Jersey doesn't make life easy for electric car owners. And if you ignore the ongoing battle between Tesla Motors and powerful auto dealer associations for a second, BMW's range-extended i3 Rex has had its own problems in the state. You see, initially BMW said the range-extended variant of the all-electric i3, the i3 Rex, would be exempt from sales tax just like other plug-in cars in the Garden State. But then a little while later, the state of New Jersey said no, because it had an onboard range-extended gasoline engine, the i3 Rex would attract sales tax. And some people, namely the early adopters who got their cars first, duly paid sales tax. Yet now the state of New Jersey has changed its mind, retroactively applying the tax break on any BMW i3 Rex which have already been sold in the state. In short, if you've purchased a BMW i3 Rex and you paid sales tax, you should probably expect a check in the post any day now. For the first time since its Model S entered into production in 2012, Tesla's Fremont factory stopped making cars this week, but for a very good reason. You see, the planned 2-week production hiatus at the facility is a necessary part in a $100 million upgrade to the Fremont plant to prepare it for the arrival of the Tesla Model X crossover SUV later this year. While Tesla isn't due to start selling the Model S-derived crossover until next spring, the retrofit taking place over the next 2 weeks will add the required 25 additional robots needed to bring the Model X production line into full swing. Between now and then, Tesla will slowly ramp up production on the new line, first testing out each robot individually and then eventually using the line to produce pre-production prototypes. We'll then see a switch to production Model X cars sometime early in 2015. Think plug-in car and you'd be forgiven for thinking they're the antithesis of the mighty V6 engine. In fact, when it comes to plug-in hybrids, there's an unwritten rule which almost expects it to combine a moderately sized electric motor with a small capacity 4.3 or perhaps even 2-cylinder engine for the perfect mix of frugality, environmental kindness and range anxiety beating backup power. Yet, as Auto Express reported this week, Audi's upcoming A8 e-Tron plug-in hybrid will be based on the unholy marriage of a 3-litre V6 diesel engine and a plug-in hybrid drivetrain. Packing plenty of grunt at low RPM and the kind of frugality that diesel engines are known for, this plug-in variant of Audi's popular luxury sedan should manage around 30 miles per charge in all-electric range. But we're doubtful anyone who buys one will be worried about getting 30 miles per charge. Instead, like a growing number of plug-in cars on the market, we think the Audi A8 e-Tron will be a car that enables drivers to continue worshipping at the altar of fossil-fueled mayhem while meeting ever-increasing emissions regulations and, of course, the all-important London congestion charge exemption. In related news, premium automaker Porsche, owned by the same Volkswagen parent company as Audi, officially set pricing for its all-new 2015 Porsche Cayenne S-E plug-in hybrid this week. At $76,400, the Cayenne S-E Hybrid replaces the outgoing 2014 Cayenne S Hybrid, which didn't plug in and managed just 25 mpg combined on the EPA test cycle. Like the Audi we just told you about, the Cayenne matches a V6 engine with a plug-in hybrid drivetrain, but this time it's a petrol engine, not a diesel one, along with a 70 kilowatt electric motor and 10.8 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery pack. And if that sounds familiar, that's because it's the same drivetrain used in the Cayenne's more expensive sibling, the Panamera SE Hybrid. But with the Tesla Model X due next year for similar money and more than 10 times the electric range, don't expect the Porsche Cayenne SE to sell in large numbers. For the past few weeks, we've been talking about Toyota's first mass production hydrogen fuel cell car, the as yet unnamed fuel cell sedan. Due to launch in Japan next spring, Toyota has always been pretty frank about the car's 7 million yen price tag, suggesting that it would need some significant help from the world governments to help subsidize the cost to early adopters of buying one. Well, it seems Toyota has been given what it wants by the Japanese government, a massive 2 million yen in incentives for each and every person who buys a fuel cell vehicle. 2 million yen, for those unfamiliar with exchange rates, equates to about $20,000. Or, to put it another way, about 2.6 times the incentives currently offered to people in the US and UK for buying an EV. I wonder if there are any other governments feeling that generous about hydrogen. The Quant e-Sportlimousine, a car you may never even have heard of yet, received approval this week from German authorities to begin road testing in Europe. With super sexy design, gull-wing doors and the kind of performance specs that give Tesla a run for its money, the all-electric four-wheel drive EV boasts a claimed 372-mile range, yet can be recharged in the time it takes you to fill up a petrol tank. How, you ask? Well, the Quant e-Sportlimousine is the first electric car in the world, as far as we know, to make use of something called a flow cell. Operating in a similar way to a battery pack, the flow cell keeps its electrolyte in 2 tanks stored away from where the electrochemical reactions take place. The 2 fluids are then pumped either side of a special membrane where an electrochemical reaction takes place and a current is induced. When the battery, or rather the fluid, is exhausted, you simply pump it out for reprocessing and fill up the tanks with fully charged electrolyte. If this technology proves reliable, it could revolutionise the way we think about electric cars and refuelling them forever. It's official. The European sibling to the Chevrolet Volt, the aptly named Opel, or Vauxhall Ampera, will meet its maker next year. That's according to the CEO of Opel, no less, who confirmed this week in a tweet that Europeans won't be getting a second-generation Ampera alongside the second-generation Chevy Volt, which will launch next year as a 2016 model year. Poor sales plus tough competition from better-equipped, cheaper plug-ins have left the Ampera and the Volt gasping for attention in Europe, leaving GM no choice but to withdraw both models. The Volt, which will end sales this year as part of a wider Chevy pullout from Europe, will be followed a few months later by the Ampera, and hopefully, with any luck, in its place, we'll get a shiny new plug-in that suits European tastes. Just don't get too excited yet. A few weeks ago, we told you about Nissan's all-new replacement battery plan for LEAF owners. Give Nissan $5,499 and your car's old battery pack, and Nissan will give you a brand new battery pack for your car built with the latest battery technology. It sounded like a deal too good to be true, and as it turns out, it is. At least, it is for Nissan, which admitted this week that it is losing money on each and every battery pack it sells under the scheme. While that will eventually change as battery prices drop and economies of scale come into play, Nissan says it's willing to take this particular loss on the chin just to keep its customers happy. That's it for this week. Don't forget to join us next week for another episode of T.E.N. And in the meantime, visit www.transportevolved.com for all the Evolved transport news that's fit to print. Subscribe to our channel and other shows on YouTube, and join us for our Transport Evolved News Panel talk show later on today, when we'll be discussing these stories and others. I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield, and until next time, stay used up.